watching online TV. I hope you've been enjoying all the segments. And I'm looking forward to this interview with one of my friends. I consider him a friend, Dr. Bullock. Doc, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Glad to be here on
Hey,
this
Doc,
great show,
let's
man.
go right at it, man.
Yeah.
We were talking off camera,
Right,
And you were
right.
telling me about your life. I
Right.
mean, how you got here, how you got into ministry.
Yeah.
From Kansas,
Yeah,
Arkansas. You
yeah.
even told me about your basketball game in
Yeah.
Alaska, San
Yeah,
Francisco, how you
yeah.
met your wife.
Right.
Tell us.
Well, I'm originally from Wichita, Kansas, in the Midwest, and a family of 9.
Wow. So
Yeah, I'm in the middle, and we grew up in the church, family values, church and family and faith, and good Sunday dinner, and typical black family in the Midwest. My daddy worked for Bowen. He had a janitorial service. My mother sung in the choir. My daddy had a quartet. And you went to school during the week. You mind your manners, as we say back in the South and the Midwest. Saturday, you get ready for church on Sunday. You go to church all day on Sundays. So that's kind of my foundation.
tell me, you met your wife. You were preaching.
Yeah, I was in California on Christmas break. At the time, I was a student athlete at University of Alaska Anchorage.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we were in a basketball tournament. The tournament was over. I had a week or two for vacation, so I stayed in California with my uncle, my dad's baby brother, who was the chairman of the deacon board at St. Stephen's Baptist Church in San Francisco. I was a youth day preacher, and I saw my wife-to-be on the piano. And it was a short sermon that day because I wanted to meet her. And we started dating, had a long-distance relationship. She was in college in California. I was in college in Anchorage. And then after I graduated with my degree in social work and criminal justice,
Where was that?
at University of Alaska Anchorage,
Oh wow. Okay.
we got married. We moved to Rochester, New York, to attend seminary, Colgate Rochester Crozier Seminary in Rochester, New York. And that's where we began our marriage and our ministry.
And you said that you started preaching here in Delaware at age 26.
No, yeah, I came to Delaware at 26, right out of seminary. I was called to the the historic 8th Street Baptist Church in Little Italy, 8th and Scott Street. I served there for 8 years as a pastor. We had great growth. The ministry was phenomenal. We were able to bring that church from a historic setting to a more contemporary ministry in terms of feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, prison ministry, impacting the human condition. And we built a new church on 35th and Market, where it is now.
But how does that work? You said you were called here. You were in New York and you were called. So in this ministry, you could be called anywhere?
Yeah, in the Baptist church, when I was in seminary, we had a placement division at the seminary. And seminarians, once we get ready to graduate, they will ask you, are you interested in pastoring? So they had all these vacant churches around the country, and they would do a match in terms of your likes, your gifts, and your interest in ministry. And I was a great match for the church here in Wilmington, as well as 2 churches in California, one in Brooklyn and one in Rhode Island. So we came here to visit first, and fell in love with Wilmington, and of course the people at 8th Street Baptist Church.
You know, I didn't know. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I mean, first of all, I didn't know that you were in ministry that long. I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost like you started like a young Dr. King. I mean, I don't want to put you
Understand.
in any kind of category.
Sure.
But I mean, even like what you were saying, your family and you.
Yeah.
I mean, you grew up in this.
I grew up in it. At 15, I was aware of a calling on my life. I was a young singer. I would sing a lot. I still like to sing. And after singing a song on a Sunday service, I would sit down, but this fire, it just kept going. And I'd get home, I'd still have this fire. And I knew what it was, but I thought I was too young.
Wow.
And then I went to a senior pastor, and he told me what was going on and reflected on his experience, which helped me. And so at 15, I knew the call was up on my life, but I ran for 3 years.
What do you mean by that?
I avoided it because I didn't think I could play basketball and preach at the same time. Being a high school all city, all
Tell me
state
about that.
basketball.
Was that in Anchorage?
That was in Wichita,
Wichita, you
the
were
Wichita South High School.
Now that's good basketball there.
That's tall cotton. Antoine Carr,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
all those guys.
And you were a pretty good basketball player.
I was all city, all state 3 years in a
You
row.
wouldn't lie to me.
I'm telling you, I'm sitting in the church. I'm telling you the truth, bro.
Wow.
Yeah,
Guard.
point guard. Yeah,
And you was telling me like you Hall of Fame there or something like high school.
High School Hall of Fame. Yeah, Wichita South High
I
School.
wonder how many people know that.
Guys back home know.
Did you get a scholarship college?
Oh yeah, I had offers. I had given a verbal commitment to Southern University in Baton Rouge,
Wow.
but at the time you could visit.
CIAA.
Yeah, you could visit 5 schools as a recruit. My 5 were Southern, Paul Quinn in Texas, University of California, I think Bakersfield, somewhere out there, University of Hawaii, and University of Alaska. So I told my mother, I'm not going to Alaska or Hawaii, but the trip is free as a recruit. I'm going to just go visit.
Right.
But I'm going to Baton Rouge. So I called the coach in Southern and said, Coach, I'm going to University of Alaska, Anchorage. So my scholarship went to Avery Johnson.
The Avery Johnson.
The Avery Johnson.
Wow.
So you see his career,
Wow.
how it went. So that was kind of the quality of my game.
Doc, you have a very, I mean, your experience and the people you've met. Have anything just awed you? Have you ever been like in awe, like maybe going to the White House or maybe meeting the president? I see your pictures around. I mean, it couldn't be that. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Have you ever been like, wow, this is interesting?
Like you, when we've met a lot of people around the world, famous people.
Right.
What awes me is when I meet someone who's homeless or down and out, and they still have hope, and they're not complaining.
You serious about that?
Yeah. I mean, I work with President Obama in Chicago. I ran the NAACP. I pastored there. He did my last 2 fundraisers. I've known him. I went to the Clinton White House 3 times, W. Bush 2 times. I've met a lot of people. I know a lot of folk. But, I'm not in awe. I respect what they do and honor that. But when I see a brother in Venezuela or a woman suffering in Israel, and I look in their eyes, they still have hope. Or a brother down here on the east side, or someone here on Route 9 who's struggling. Yesterday, was a woman here who was sitting out there near you. She came up to me after service. She said, Pastor, I'm doing better now. 6 months ago, she was homeless with 3 kids. Yesterday, she told me, said, I got a job, my kids in school, I have a house. She looked nice, had her makeup on, her hair done, nails done. That's what impresses me. I'm in awe of people who are considered have-nots, struggle and don't give up.
And I could totally relate to that because, like, sometimes like, when I give out turkeys,
Yeah.
and like that older person come up, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah.
That makes me feel
Yeah.
good. And people
Yeah.
like Storm, you humble about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, because this doesn't matter anymore.
No, and that's what inspires me to do ministry. Is you got 3 categories of people in our society: the haves, the have-a-littles, and the have-nots. The haves are trying to keep what they have. The have-a-littles are trying to get what the haves have. And the have-nots are trying to get the have-a-little. So as a minister in the urban environment who understands the Judeo-Christian heritage, the least of these matter. The least of these matter, because the last shall be first in the end. So how we treat the least of these, the little shots, not the big shots, how we treat the least of these is how we'll be judged by God in the end.
Well, what made you want to get into politics?
I see it as an extension of my ministry to help people. And I feel like with my vast experience, this is my first elective office, but I've been involved in politics for 30 years. My role models, Bill Gray, who's my friend and mentor, J.C. Watts, Congressman Adam Clayton Powell's a historic model, of course, Dr. King, Leon Sullivan, OIC. These guys were pastors who never left their pulpits, but were able to go into politics to make a difference.
I'm glad you went there. Explain to me, or people watching, right? Because people say it got to be hard to do both.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes, and we're friends,
Right.
you got to pray on some stuff because
Yeah.
you're like, wow, you know, you got to make votes,
Yeah.
or you got to say, or you got to talk to people. Like, you
Yeah.
understand what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Because I was a politician.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not saying that you have to compromise yourself, but you
Right.
like, you understand what
I
I'm
know
going?
exactly. Sometimes it can be difficult. And there's a couple of things that are able to keep me focused. First of all, I have a good staff at the church and a good staff at the county that keeps me on point in terms of what I have to do, in terms of juggling schedules. Secondly, when there's a difficult vote, I pray before I vote.
Wow, that's where I want to go.
And not whether it will benefit the Democrats or the Republicans, but will it benefit the people? And sometimes that's popular, sometimes it's not. You know, someone told me the other day that, Rev, sometimes you got to come off the pulpit in politics. And I told that person I would never come off the pulpit. In other words, I would never compromise my values.
I mean, because right now as we sit, Rev, you are the highest ranking black official in our state. And we have people talking about you running for higher office here in our state. I mean, because now the minority community in particular are looking for that leader. And right now, you that person. I don't know if you have grasped that or embrace it. Do you think about it?
I think about where can I best be used to help people who've been ignored. And how can we hold the process accountable? I think African Americans, we need to start voting our interests. We need to start voting with our heads and not our hearts. We need to have a political checkpoint list. In other words, here's our agenda. The Democrats fit our agenda, Republicans fit our agenda. We need to look at that. Secondly, I will consider higher office. And pray about it and talk to my family. And I'm concerned about the lack of economic opportunity in our city and our state.
Talk about it.
I'm concerned about the poverty index downstate. In Ellendale and certain parts of Sussex County, these communities have been ignored, just getting water in the 21st century. I'm concerned about our public school system, which every kid has the human right to be educated. Yeah, it's their human right to be educated in a quality way, not social promotion. I think our system needs to be held accountable. I'm concerned about the top-heavy dollars going to administrators and less going to teachers. We need more after-school programs. But I'm very interested in three things as it relates to higher office in our state: mentoring kids, obesity, and creation of jobs. If I run, those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about now. And I think we could garner and recruit and foster and engender a broad-based coalition to help us do our work.
I don't want to talk a lot about politics, but wow, since we're here, and,
Yeah.
and I'm enjoying this conversation, by the way. Do you sometimes find yourself, because sometimes I put myself in here because I'm talking to you about it, when you got there as the president of council, right? Now do you see some of the frustration level? Like, in other words, you're like, I'm going to put this money in the library. That makes sense. That makes sense to have a library.
Right.
Like, why would somebody be against that?
Yeah.
Like, why would somebody be against a feeding program or taking guns off the street?
Yeah.
You know,
it doesn't make sense. Being the former party chair, not just councilman, but party chair. And you could easily be sitting over here and I could be interviewing you for higher office. People have special interests. We passed our budget in council and we've allocated $21 million for the new library innovation center on Newcastle Avenue, a community that's been underserved and overpromised for decades. If you look throughout Newcastle County, in strategic areas and neighborhoods, there are libraries. Why not here? why not here? So we've made the case. The vote, we had not one vote against it, which is powerful. And what we're going to do is this will be the first step. This will be the anchor to a larger expansion of redevelopment and business development on the Route 9 corridor. It's my vision and dream that Route 9 will become an economic oasis. When you come over the bridge, the first exit into Delaware is Route 9. So we need new housing, we need business development, we need a medical center, we need a grocery store, we need banks. Once you leave downtown, the banking center, come over the bridge in the South Bridge out here to Route 9, there's not one bank. Not one bank. You leave Rodney Square, the banking center. You come over South Bridge, out here, there's not one bank.
Wow.
So we need banks, we need credit unions, we need economic development, which is the key. The key to dealing with crime is economic development, empowerment, and family restoration.
I've been saying that.
You know, the crime deal is a public health issue, not a crime issue. The public safety issue. It's a public health issue. These young brothers, they're angry at somebody. It's a pathology. They're angry at their father who they never met. Because when mama was carrying them, mama was mad at this fella because he was gone. So she raises the child mad. Development of a child doesn't happen when the baby's born. That child is already developing their psychic while mama's carrying it. So these are some, you got to look at the psychology and the pathology. Why are these brothers so angry?
Well, you're going to make me go get a book.
Yeah. Why are they so angry?
Doc, thank you so very
Thank you,
much
man.
for sharing
Bless you.
For sharing your,
Bless you. Thank you.
hope-
And good luck with your show, man.
And I hope, man, I enjoyed this, man. Look, we supposed to go 3 minutes, man. I forgot I was talking to a reverend. We could have been forever. Thank you, man. I enjoyed your story.
Bless you,
Some
man.
stuff I didn't know.
Yes, sir. God bless.